Your car's transmission is one of the most expensive parts to repair and one of the easiest to ruin without even realizing it. Crazy part? Most transmission failures aren't caused by big mechanical defects or poor design. They happen slowly from small daily habits that quietly wear things down until one day the gears start slipping or the car won't move at all. In this video, we're going to look at 7 common mistakes that drivers make, the kind that destroy transmissions over time, and how to avoid them. If you want your transmission to last for the life of your vehicle, these tips are non-negotiable. Mistake 1. Shifting without coming to a complete stop. We've all done this at some point. You're backing out of a driveway or parking spot, and before the car fully stops, you throw it into drive and hit the gas. It feels quick and harmless, but what you just did is one of the worst things you can do to an automatic transmission. Here's why. When you shift from reverse to drive while the car is still rolling backward, you're asking the transmission to instantly reverse the direction of spinning parts that are still moving in the opposite direction. Inside your transmission are gears, clutches, and bands that need a split second to disengage and re-engage. By shifting mid-roll, you're slamming those parts together under load. The result? Metal wear, clutch damage, and long-term stress on the drivetrain. The correct habit is simple. Come to a complete stop before changing gears. Even if you're in a hurry, taking those 2 extra seconds prevents years of damage and saves thousands in repairs. And remember, this same rule applies when parking. Never throw the car into park until the vehicle is completely stopped. Mistake 2. Coasting downhill in neutral. Some people think that putting the car in neutral while going downhill helps save gas. It's an old trick that might have made sense decades ago, but with modern vehicles, it does more harm than good. When you shift into neutral, your engine idles at very low RPMs while your wheels are spinning fast. That means the transmission is turning faster than the engine, and when you shift back into drive, there's a sudden jolt as the 2 speeds have to match. That shock travels directly through the transmission, straining clutches and gears. On top of that, you're actually not saving any fuel. Modern fuel-injected cars automatically cut off fuel delivery when you're coasting downhill in gear. So, while your foot's off the gas pedal, fuel injectors are closed, meaning zero fuel consumption. Plus, driving in neutral removes engine braking. If you suddenly need to speed up to avoid something, you're delayed because you have to re-engage the gear. And since you're relying only on your brakes, they heat up faster and wear out sooner. So stay in drive. Let your engine and transmission work together. It's safer, smarter, and just as efficient. Mistake 3. Parking on a hill without using the parking brake. This one's super common, especially for automatic drivers. You park on a slope, put the gear lever into park, turn off the car, and take your foot off the brake. Then you feel that little clunk as the car rolls slightly and settles. That sound? It's the entire weight of your vehicle resting on a small locking pin called the parking pawl inside your transmission. On a steep hill, that's thousands of pounds of force pressing on a tiny piece of metal. Over time, that can bend, crack, or even snap the pawl, and once it breaks, your car can roll away or your transmission can jam. Here's the correct way to park on an incline. Stop the car completely with your foot brake. Engage the parking brake first. Then shift the gear into park. Now the parking brake, not your transmission, holds the car in place. It's a small step that makes a big difference, especially if you park on hills frequently or live in a hilly area. And one more tip. Use the parking brake even on level ground once in a while. It keeps the mechanism free and prevents it from seizing over time. Mistake 4. Towing more than your vehicle can handle. Here's a big one that destroys transmissions faster than almost anything else: towing or hauling too much weight. Just because your vehicle has a hitch doesn't mean it's built to pull heavy loads. Every vehicle has a rated towing capacity, and exceeding that number puts enormous strain on your transmission. When your engine struggles to pull a heavy trailer or load, the transmission compensates by slipping the torque converter more often. That creates excessive heat, and heat is the #1 killer of transmission fluid. Once the fluid overheats, it loses its ability to lubricate and cool the system, leading to burnt clutches, warped bands, and eventually a total transmission failure. If you've ever smelled a burnt, sweet odor while towing, that's your transmission fluid cooking. And once it burns once, it's never the same. So always check your owner's manual or the manufacturer's specs before towing. If you're moving houses or carrying heavy gear for a trip, it might be better to rent a truck designed for towing instead of risking your daily driver. Mistake 5. Driving aggressively before the transmission warms up. Your transmission fluid works best at its normal operating temperature, usually around 175 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. When the fluid is cold, it's thicker, moves slower, and can't lubricate internal parts effectively. So if you start your car and immediately floor it out of your driveway, you're forcing the transmission to work hard before it's ready. That creates extra wear on the pump, seals, and clutch packs. You don't need to idle your car for 20 minutes. That's actually bad for your engine. Instead, drive gently for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Avoid hard acceleration and let the fluid warm naturally as you drive. It's like stretching before a workout. Taking it easy at the start helps everything run smoother and last longer. Mistake 6. Believing common transmission myths. There are a few myths about transmissions that refuse to die, so let's clear them up. Myth number 1. Downshifting an automatic is bad for it. False. Automatic transmissions are designed to downshift safely when needed. In fact, using lower gears on steep downhill roads helps your brakes stay cooler and prevents brake fade. Myth number 2. It's cheaper to wear out your brakes than your transmission, so never downshift. Not necessarily. If you rely only on your brakes on long descents, they can overheat and glaze, making them less effective and potentially dangerous. Moderate downshifting is completely fine and helps distribute the load. Myth number 3. Resting your hand on the shifter can damage the transmission. That only applies to manual cars where the shifter directly connects to the gear forks. In automatics, it's just an electronic or cable signal, so resting your hand there doesn't hurt anything. The bottom line: modern transmissions are smarter and more durable than most people realize, but they still depend on good driving habits and regular maintenance. Mistake 7. Ignoring transmission fluid changes. If there's one thing that kills more transmissions than any other single cause, it's neglecting the fluid. Transmission fluid doesn't just lubricate, it cools, cleans, and helps transfer power through the system. Over time, it breaks down from heat and friction, losing its protective properties. Once that happens, you'll start to feel symptoms: rough or delayed shifts, slipping gears, or harsh engagement when changing between drive and reverse. The worst part: by the time those signs appear, it's often too late. Internal wear has already begun. Most manufacturers recommend changing the fluid every 30,000 to 60,000 miles, depending on the vehicle. But if you tow, drive, and stop-and-go traffic, or live in a hot climate, you should service it even sooner. And if you've just bought a used car and don't know when the fluid was last changed, don't wait. Get it inspected or replaced as soon as possible. Fresh, clean fluid is the single best insurance policy for your transmission's lifespan. Your transmission doesn't ask for much, just clean fluid, gentle driving, and a bit of common sense. Avoiding these 7 mistakes can easily add tens of thousands of miles to its life and save you from a repair bill that could cost more than the car's worth. If you learned something new today, hit that like button and subscribe for more car maintenance tips that can save you money. And if you want to know whether you should flush or change your transmission fluid, check out the next video on your screen. Drive smart, take care of your car, and it'll take care of you.